Point number one, I must now prove you that this region has important surgical meaning. And I want to say you that, like the surgeon, I tell you, it is one of the hardest, if not say hardest region of the body, from surgical point of view. And there are several reasons why it is so. I will try now to show you before we speak about borders, before this. Point number one, you will not find any other region which will contain so many vitally important structures like the neck. And you will not find any other region where they will be so concentrated like in the neck region. It means all these structures approximately all touch to each other and no any free spaces between them. It means any your mistake can kill the person. Point number two, due to the specificity of anatomy, here you have the respiratory pathways. And you understand that they can be simply abstracted. Sorry, we are not the fish. We cannot, or another animals. We cannot live without breathing. Fish also breathe, but it's breathe under the water. But you need the oxygen. How long you can live without the breathing? 4 minutes. After the 4 minutes, heart will be stopped. We call it the clinical death. Then you will have 2 minutes, 3 minutes for the resuscitation. After this, the person will die. We call it biological death. So you understand how long time, 4 or 5 minutes, not more, comparable with weather condition of the person and anything else. Or you will lose the patient. Why it can be happen? From the trauma, from the poisons, from the allergical reactions, huge amount of the infections. Just like respiratory pathways can be simply closed. And you must make here performance, which is called tracheotomy, tracheostomy. Next point, which is making this region so hard for us, guys, it is very many spaces which we have in neck region. And some of the spaces is connected space. What does it mean? From one region goes to another region. If inside of this space will be any pathological liquid, we can simply spread it from up to down. And to down, unfortunately, it goes to the mediastinum with the heart and the biggest vessels. Inside of the mediastinum, inflammations can be very serious, up to mortal. Next point, which is making this region surgically very hard for us, guys, it is of course big arteries, which we have in this region. It is the most, we can say, if not the biggest, one of the biggest. After the aorta, biggest vessels, it is brachiocephalic trunks, it is the common carotid, it is the subclavian arteries. All these mentioned structures located in neck region. Let's say we can have here mortal bleedings. I think it is understandable. We have here the spinal cord. By the way, it is cervical portion. If you will have trauma of your patient in that region, it will give the complete paralysis of all skeletal muscle, except few which is supplied by the cranial nerves, which is located in head region. For example, your masticator muscles. All of them is supplied by the spinal nerves. That's why that region is important. Generally, a region is bad protected region. Compare with head, compare with thorax. And in head and in thorax, we have bone cavities, which contain organs and which have bone protection, but not in the neck. Anteriorly or nothing, or maximum cartilage, but no any bones. Any knife can be simply penetrated and any foreign body can simply damage the structures from in front. From behind you have the vertebra, but from in front you don't have any bones. And in head and in thorax we have such kind of the protection, but in neck no. Specific problems you can have with trauma of veins of the neck region. What I mean? I mean that these veins generally contain the negative pressure. And then you perforated the vein, it doesn't give so much bleeding, it gives formation of air embolism. Air from environment suck inside of the vessels and make thromboticization of the valve. Of course, it will circulate it by your blood. It will close vitally important vessels with formation of infarcts, strokes, and anything else. To tell the truth, I don't want to continue to speak about the importance of this region. I think up to now, for example, it will be very hard for you to make primary surgical treatment, debridement of the wound. Tell me why. Why in the neck it is critically hard, comparable with the same head?
Because there's no cavity.
Because of what?
Because there's no it's all cartilage and vessels are open, there's no protection.
And what? It is make primary surgical treatment hard. Vice versa, I don't need to enter inside of any cavity to make trephination like in head region. everything will be in front of me and superficially. Of course, you're not right. Here another problem. Some specific movement of the structures, which is, 1 minute, listen to me now, which is divided into two types, active and passive. What I mean? Now imagine, touch wood, of course, that I received the wood by the knife in this direction. Actively or passively, after my head is moved, and all consequence of the tissues is changed. Instead of deep canal, you see some superficial, because muscles change their position. Can I see the same in the head? No. Can I see in thorax? No. All the structures can be moved. How I can make, for example, revision of all them? I will modulate the position of the injury. Only in injured position I can find all the canal of the bone. Otherwise, part of it will be closed. If part of it will be closed, I cannot make the primary surgical treatment. I think it's understandable. Friends, I think it is enough. You understand that the region is really very serious for us, very hard. Like the surgeon, I want to say that I try to avoid some surgical performance here if it is not vitally important. If it is possible to treat it in another way in this region, usually we prefer it. In another regions, maybe the risks is not so big like in this region. But anyhow, you will make here the performance. You must know the anatomy, topography of it. That's we will start now. And as usually, we start from borders. What is the borders of the neck? Neck has two borders, guys. Upper, which is divided neck from head, and lower, which is divided neck partly from thorax, partly from shoulder girdle. Upper border of the neck, you must know, because we study head border. I think even it's not necessary to repeat it. Or it's necessary, or not necessary. If it's not necessary, please remind me.
Inferior border of mandible.
Margin.
Inferior margin of mandible and the imaginary line from the ankle of mandible to the.
You are absolutely wrong. That is surgical border, which doesn't show real anatomy of our structures. I don't have time. Look to the inferior margin of mandible up to the ankle, posterior margin of the vertical process, anterior posterior margins of the mastoid, superior buccal line, external occipital protector of the earth. I say next time that you say it's not important, don't be so sure. I say this is the borders of superior border. Now inferior border, look to me. Upper margin of the jugular notch of the sternum, upper margin of the clavicles, upper margin of the acromions. From acromions, it is imaginary line up to the tip of the C7 cervical spinous process. Once again, upper margin of my jugular notch, clavicles, acromion. From acromion up to the tip of C7, we call it prominence. Yeah, as you remember, it has the longest spinous process. You can simply palpate it in your back. It is greatly palpatable, and it's good landmark for you. Very well. Do you understand these borders? Brilliant. Now let's make the first division. Look everybody to me. Neck is split into two compartments, anterior neck and posterior neck. By the way, this division we can perform and imaginary and anatomically. How we make imaginary division? Upper my point, it is tip of my mastoid. Lower my point, it is the apex of my acromion. If I connected these 2 points by imaginary line, in front of the line I will have anterior, behind of the line I will have posterior. That is imaginary division. How I can make anatomical? For anatomical division, of course, the person should have good developed muscles. I will palpate it, trapezius. And by anterior margin of the trapezius, I will provide it my line. In front of it will be anterior, behind of it will be posterior. So remember, please, we make imaginary division and we make anatomical. By the way, there are one more division, which is now impossible to explain for you. That's why I will just show. This is division from inside. If you will make cross-section of the neck, as it's shown in this picture, you will see that some fascia, which is drawn here by blue collagen, we call it second finishing, gives the frontal septus to the all transverse processes. And this septus split it again, the neck into anterior and into the posterior. But from outside, this division is unuseful. You can use this division only when you make another section, or only when you make the surgery to see internal structure, because that is internal division. after then I will speak, describe the factors, I will remind this once again. Now remember about external divisions. So we have imaginary division. We have the anatomical division. Great, okay. Now 1 minute listen me. What we will study together? We will study everything, but primary your attention will be attracting to anterior neck region because all the important organs, vessels, nerves, except the vertebrae, will be in anterior region. That's an anterior region, surgically the most important. Let's say in the future, then I will say neck, I will miss anterior. All right, please, division of anterior neck. Division of anterior neck. And let's make the diagram. By the way, I can draw like for previous group in frontal section, or if you want, we can draw in the lateral section, sagittal section, which section you want. Frontal just a little bit more informative because you see both sides. Then you make sagittal section, you look to the one side, and you will use your imagination to imagine another one. So which one? Frontal. Okay, let's do the frontal. Divide it, please, your paper into two equal parts. It will be the middle line of your neck. Middle line of your neck. Now, according to this midline, try to make a symmetrical picture because it is frontal, it should be symmetrical from upwards through the jaw. Okay? Through the mastoid processes. Beauty is not important. Let's say don't think about it. Just draw the structures which we will need for anatomical division. From down, draw please the jugular notch of the sternum and clavicles, of course. Try to do it maximally symmetrically, how much of it is possible. Something like this. Now, last what I need. Ba ima vor să le scrie barbar că nici am